This video will be kind of special because it is most likely you will not use this new method in Go 1.26. But if you are working or want to work, for example, on parsers or protocols, this new peek method will be really helpful. Therefore, in this video, we are just going to quickly talk about this new peek method in Go 1.26. Okay, so like I said earlier, there is a small but really handy method for a buffer, which is the new peek method. And the TLDR of this method is simply that it just looks at the next n bytes in a bytes.Buffer without advancing the read position. And this is just perfect for parsers and protocol code where you want to inspect what's coming next before deciding how to consume it. Now let's just take a really simplified look here at a tokenizer. Now again, this is really simplified. And obviously parsers and tokenizers can be highly complex. But let's just create a tokenize function right here. So what we can say is func and then tokenize. And this just takes in a source string. And this right here just takes in a raw string like age and then 18 and then and just breaks it into tokens, and that's basically it. So this function or the tokenization can look something like this. So we just say tokenize, right? And then we say age 18 and score 100, for instance, right? Really simplified. And for a really simple tokenizer, 18 and 100 would be identified or tokenized as numbers, and age and score would be tokenized as identifiers. I think this will be clear whenever we implement this tokenize function right here. So let's just create a buffer in the tokenize function. So what we can say is buff, and then we say bytes.newBufferString, and then as an argument we will just say source right here. Now bytes.newBufferString just wraps our string in a buffer so we can basically read it incrementally. It just has an internal read cursor that just advances as you call read byte, and the peek method basically lets you look at what's next without moving that cursor. So let's just create a closure or like an inline helper function, and we will call this peek, and this will be obviously a closure and will return a byte and a boolean. So this is just a pretty simple helper function that just checks the next byte without consuming it, and it just returns the byte and the boolean, and it returns true if there's something to read and false if we are at the end. So what we can do is b error, and then we can use the peek function right here, and let's just use 1, and then if error is not equal to nil, we will just return 0 and false. Otherwise we will just return b at the position 0 and then true. Now with this peek method we will just look at the next 1 byte, so the read cursor does not really move in this case, we will just look ahead. And this peek method just existed for the buff.io reader, but now in Go 1.26 it also exists for the bytes.Buffer. And if error is not equal to nil, so if the peek really fails or the buffer is exhausted, we might have nothing really left to read and just have this signal that we are done right here. On the other hand, b is again a slice, so b at the position 0 just gives us the actual byte value. Now it's important to highlight here the return slice aliases the buffer directly, so we do not really hold onto it or mutate it in any way because it can become invalid after any modification to the buffer, for example writes or reads that just advance the buffer. And right here we just extract immediately the b at the position 0 to copy really the byte value out safely. Okay, then we will just create an infinite for loop, and this loop just keeps running until we've processed the entire input string. In here we will just have an inner loop which will skip any spaces before the next token. So what we can say is for b okay, and then we will just peek. If it is okay and b is equal to a space, then we'll do something. And with the third part of our for loop, we will just say b okay is equal to peek. Right, and in this inner for loop, we will just say buff.read byte. So what is actually going on right here? Now again, with this inner for loop, we are just checking if the next byte is a space, and this read byte method then just basically removes it from the buffer. And this repeats until the next byte is not a space or the buffer is basically empty. Remember, these for loops have like 3 parts, right? The init, the condition, and then the post. And the first part is here once before the first iteration. The second part is really here before every iteration. And if it is false, we just stop. And the third part is just after every iteration body. And again, this buff.readByte just consumes and discards the space. So we don't really care about any spaces and we don't really need it in our token. And right here with the readByte method, we just error silently. So the error is just ignored because we've just confirmed via peek that a byte exists. Okay, so after skipping spaces, we can peek again. so we say peek right here, to just see if anything is left or if there's any content at all. And if not, we've basically reached the end of the input and just stop the loop. So if it's not okay, we will just break out of the loop, and then we can consume or read the token or tokenize the string. So let's just say var token and then slice of bytes. So the token right here just accumulates the bytes of the current word or number. Let's just have a simple is digit check right here. So we say b is greater or equal to 0 and b is less than or equal to 9. Then it is obviously a digit. So right here we just check if the first byte of this token is a digit. So ASCII 0 through 9. And this just tells us whether we are about to read a number or an ident, so an identifier, or a word basically. Okay, then we are going to declare another inner for loop where we are just going to consume the bytes as long as they belong to the same token type. So we say for b okay and then peek again, and then we say okay and b is greater than 0 and b is less than or equal to 9. Is equal to is digit and b is not equal to a space, and then in the end we just peek right here again. Now this looks kind of complex, right? So what is really going on right here? Now we do this is digit check right here to just stop if the next byte switches the type, so a digit to a letter for instance. Now b is not equal to a space also really stops at spaces. This is just needed when two same type tokens are adjacent with a space. And right now we do not really care about special characters right here to just simplify things. Right, and remember this b right here in the inner for loop just refers to the b we've declared in the inner for loop, not in the outer for loop, if that makes sense. Okay, kind of complex, but let's just read the byte right here. So we say c underscore, we ignore the error right here again, and then we say buff.read byte. Okay, so right here we are actually consuming the byte and move the cursor forward. We are just again silently dropping the error right here because we've just confirmed via peek that a byte exists. And then we just need to add the consumed byte to our growing token slice. So we say token is equal to append token C. Really simple, nothing really fancy. And then what we can do out of this inner for loop, we can just check if it is a digit. Now this is kind of unconventional because right here what we are doing in the tokenize function, we are just printing if it is a digit or if it is an identifier. Again, this is really simplified. So we are just printing the finished token here with its label. So what we can do is fmt.printf and we say number and let's just say %q and then \n, and then we say token right here. Now this %q just prints the byte slice as a quoted string, so for instance 18. Now if it is not a digit, we will just do the same thing, but instead of number, we will just say ident. Just add a space right here. Okay, so words like age and score are just identifiers. Now if you're going to run this project right here, what we will see is actually the tokenization. So we have ident, the number, and two idents again, and then a number again. Really cool. And for that, we've actually leveraged the peek method right here. Again, just to look at the next n bytes in a buffer without really advancing the read position. And this is the new method in Go 1.26. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video and learned something new today. Now, if you are interested in recursive type constraints in Go 1.26, feel free to watch this video right here. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely day and bye bye.